Someone told me once that I lived in a fantasy world. I've actually been told that a few times, which I think is pretty interesting because it stems from a place where people only see the good parts of your life on social media, on your blog, and they don't actually see the hard parts of your life. And it's kind of a bittersweet moment when it comes to homesteading, because you want to show all of the good parts of homesteading, because the reality is that if you showed all the bad parts of homesteading, no one would want to live your lifestyle. So when someone said this to me, I actually wasn't around them when they said it about me, and it really upset me. To be honest, it offended me, because I thought, you know, this person doesn't know me. They don't know what they're talking about, and I should be used to it, right? Because I've had this said about me for a long time, not just with our lifestyle, but just in life in general. But for some reason, I felt like I needed to say something. And this was years ago, and I never said anything. And I think that it's because I wasn't meant to say anything then. I was still young in homesteading and living this lifestyle and living a holistic lifestyle. And I don't think I could have done it justice the way that I can now. And so I know that there's a lot of you that have probably been approached like this too, like, oh, you have a beautiful house, or oh, you have beautiful food and you just live this fantasy world. It's not like that for people. Or, oh, it's so nice to be you, I can't have a homestead, so I'm gonna just rip you to pieces. Or, you know, oh, you none of your animals die, you know, you must be wonderful, or you're fake. Or there's so many things that other homesteaders say about other homesteaders, or people will say, people that don't live your lifestyle will say about you. And so I wanted to kind of address that today, because I think it's important as a homesteader to know that most homesteaders are going through the same thing that you're going through when it comes to words that people are saying. And I want to talk to those people too that think we might live in a fantasy world, because the reality is that sometimes we do. I wake up every morning, and before my son was the age that he is now, I would get up and do all of the chores on my own. Now, I don't have a ranch in the middle of nowhere with thousands of cows or anything like that, but we do grow our own food. Every year we inch closer and closer to sustainability as much as we can on a ½ acre. I would wake up and I would collect eggs, and I would feed chickens and tend to rabbits and play with ducks. And I would step out into my garden every morning in the summertime and just sit there, because it was so pretty. It was just overwhelming to think that you could sit there amongst your food, among a forest full of tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and things that you're gonna eventually feed your family. And it's a humbling experience, and yeah, it's a fantasy for some people. And so you could say that we do live in a fantasy world, because We get to do those things, and we've worked hard to do those things, and they are beautiful. It is beautiful to pick a tomato off of a vine and take it inside and eat it. It is beautiful to collect cucumbers off of an arch and that hangs over top of you and turn it into pickles or relish or some type of summer food or snack. It is beautiful to hatch eggs under a broody hen or in an incubator. There is no better way to feel connected to life than to get your hands dirty and to watch new life happen. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful to watch your animals free range in your yard or tend to their babies like they're supposed to, or get excited because they see you. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful life that we live. For people that milk cows and butcher meat like we do, we don't milk cows, but we butcher meat, you know, it's beautiful to get up. I mean, it's hard. There's hard parts, but it's beautiful to get up and do these things and to know where your food comes from and to know that life is just full of new beginnings every single day. So yeah, I live in a fantasy because my fantasy is my reality and my fantasy is my dream, and why would I want to live any other way than the way I want to live? But with that fantasy comes devastation. Those people that say these things, they don't have to sit up at night and watch chicks die and not know why they're dying. You know, those people don't know that you just lost an entire incubator full of eggs just like I did last week. I don't know why. That's money down the drain. That's money that I can't get back. There's people who don't understand that when you lose animals, it's not easy. And sometimes you don't want to put that out there. You don't want to talk about it because it's hard. These people haven't woken up and had the worries that we've had or the frustrations like, why isn't my garden growing? Or I put all this time and effort into something and it's not working. Or I just lost 6 chickens to a hawk while we went on vacation this year. Or I lost half a litter of rabbits just a few weeks ago because my mama rabbit didn't want to take them. And I couldn't get to them in time to give them to the other rabbit. They don't know that we've had to reseed and reseed our backyard multiple times because of the terrain that we live on. And finally this year it's taken. The countless amounts of money that we've had to spend here to get it to where we want it to be. They don't get that we have a bear that gets in our trash almost every week, no matter how much we strap it down. And it's a stinky, messy job to get up there and clean it up. These people don't understand that sometimes you make a new creation for dinner and it doesn't work. It's not beautiful. It's not lovely like Instagram says that it might be. And you either have to start over from scratch or your family gets cereal. These people have never lost a piece of equipment that could mean the matter of a successful homestead or not, or farm. I highly doubt these people have put sweat, blood, and tears into the earth just to get it to produce something where they're living. These people don't know that I had to sit with my dog last year and put him down because I felt like I failed him. And, you know, the day before the Homesteaders of America conference, he had a seizure. The day of the Homesteaders of America conference, my husband came home from the conference and said he had another seizure. Nothing I did holistically was helping him anymore. They don't get to see that struggle. They don't get to feel that failure. Those people didn't have to take our brand new puppy to the vet when she sliced her back open to get metal stitches in it just so she wouldn't pull it open again. Brand new puppy! I mean, nor did they have to pay the vet bill for it. These people didn't pour money into our kitchen that we renovated, that we worked so hard to save up for, so that we could actually have a nice kitchen to cook in, to can in, to live in, because that's where we live, in the kitchen. So you might not get to see all the bad parts, and trust me, there's more. But whether the dinner is good that night or really horrible, or whether I lose chickens or I hatch new ones, whether I have to live life with a companion, with man's best friend who's happy and healthy, or live life with a crippled one, that I eventually fail. Or whether I have a successful garden with banging crops, or a failed garden that I have no idea how to clean up from. I think the difference is that as a homesteader and farmer, you know that's all part of the fantasy too. What are you? That is the dream. And you know, and you come to terms with reality that in order to live in your dreamland, in your fantasy world, sometimes you got to take the bad stuff with the good stuff. And the reality is that you just keep going. So yeah, sometimes they're right. I do live in a fantasy world. Everything goes right. The chickens hatch. Nobody gets eaten by a hawk. My dog doesn't die, or my garden grows, or the vehicles work and don't need fixing, or the house isn't falling apart, and the house might be clean, and things could just be going right. And yes, that's a fantasy to a lot of people, but that's life. Things go right for a lot of people all the time. But then the other part of this dream, this fantasy, this lifestyle, is all the things that go wrong too. All the things that build your character. Feeling the loss of livestock and knowing, you know what, I can rebuild this, I can start again. Losing a companion and knowing that, you know what, maybe I didn't fail him. Maybe it was just not fixable. Maybe my garden didn't grow. It's just knowing that sometimes nature is cruel and not on your side some years. It's knowing that you can start all over again, because come March and April, the sun is shining again, and you can plant a seed, and you can have baby animals, and you can do outside chores, and you can live that dream all over again, starting brand new. So with all of that, they were right. I do live in a fantasy world. And I love living in a fantasy world, because if I dwelled on all of the bad things and all of the struggles that come with this lifestyle, and I'm not living this lifestyle to its fullest. I know that there are people living in even broader homesteading and farming spectrum than I am. I know, because I sit on the phone with them and I listen to them cry when they lose their milk cow, or I listen to them struggle when their husband dies, or I listen to them when their kids have gone crazy, just like mine does every day. Just because we have farm kids doesn't mean they're perfect kids. And it's real life. And it's our dream. And we know it. And we know that these things happen. It doesn't make it easier, but it makes it tolerable. So when you see that homesteader on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, or even in real life, because sometimes you make those observations or horrible comments about people that you know in real life, remember that behind every single photo or video that they're showing you is a heartache. For every success that we have as homesteaders, there's a failure. And if we only shared the failures that you think are the only real parts to this life, then you would be depressed and you wouldn't want to live it. You wouldn't be inspired to get up every morning and start over brand new, just like we do every spring. You wouldn't be inspired to grow your own food or take control of your health care, because you would see all of the things that are bad and that go wrong, and none of the things that are right and go perfectly fine. And all of those good things make up for the bad things. Yeah, there's some parts to our life that are bad that we share. We share loss, and we share things that we feel are important for you to know on a homestead that is a reality. Like livestock not breeding and chicks dying. But the reality is that you don't get to feel that failure like we do unless you've experienced it yourself. And so sometimes we don't share it every single time. Sometimes we don't talk about it in depth because sometimes it's just enough for us to get through it. And it's really no one's business but ours. And sometimes, if you're lucky enough, you'll get a video like this one telling you the truth and explaining to you why we live in a beautiful world with a beautiful lifestyle. And overall, all these good things far outweigh the bad things. And real life is that we want to focus on all of those good things. Because if we didn't, we would be in a heck of a lot more trouble than we are now. Homesteading and farming isn't easy. But if you dwell on those hard parts, you're never going to want to do it. You have to be passionate about taking care of your family and taking care of your land and your livestock and your life and taking real control of it. And that means that all of these good things that you're trying to do to take control of your life, it now means you are responsible for all of the bad things too. When you buy chicken from the store, you're not responsible or emotionally attached to those animals like you are when you grow your own at home. When you purchase produce from your grocery store, you don't know the sweat and dirt that went on those hands and body to pull that produce up for you to buy. You're disconnected from it. So you don't get to feel those things. So you wouldn't understand what it's like. And so, why do we share our fantasy dreamland? It's to inspire you every single day to take control of your life and to show you that there's so much beauty, but then you also take on the responsibility of the hardships. And it's really that simple. Homesteading and farming is really that simple. Yep, I live in a fantasy world. I live in a dreamland. But you know what? I created it. And I'm living it. And I'm living the American dream. And I would not have it any other way. At all. So, the next time you see a photo or video from me, know that I'm showing you the beauty, but I will also show you the bad when I feel comfortable enough to show it. And if you're a homesteader, I encourage you to do whatever it is that you want to do that helps you get through the day, whatever you want to share or not share. And for those who condemn you, you're living it. Why does it matter what anybody else has to say? That's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you to just live your life the way you want to live it, the way you want to do it, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says about it. So, happy homesteading.